Welcome to the award-winning Real Estate Mortgage Shop, where home buyers, homeowners, and investors get practical mortgage and real estate insight straight from the pros with your host, Joe Garner.
Good morning, Memphis, and welcome to our internet listeners and our podcast listeners across the 50 states. Today is June 20th, 2026. I'm your host, Joe Garner, and you're listening to Real Estate Mortgage Shop. You can connect with me for your mortgage at jogarner.com. Our general topic is a strong home foundation and finances, how small investments today save big money tomorrow. And we want to thank our sponsors for this show, the attorneys, real estate attorneys, Shelley Rothman and Rob Drawn of Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer Law Firm for sponsoring this episode of Real Estate Mortgage Shop. When you're ready to buy a home or refinance, Shelley Rothman and Rob Drawn, give them a call for your title work and closing, 901-752-1133. Well, look, we're so happy to introduce you for the first time in the Real Estate Mortgage Shop studio, Jonathan Greer. He's the Director of Commercial Growth in the Sales and Marketing Department over at Redeemers Group. And you've been with Redeemers Group for about 6 years. Redeemers Group is a foundation, basement, crawl space, concrete repair company. And Jonathan, you're a lifelong Memphian. You graduated from Christian Brothers High School, University of Memphis. You're really from Memphis, aren't you?
I am Memphis born and bred, as we say.
Well, welcome to our Real Estate Mortgage Shop studio, Jonathan. And take a minute or so, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and the services that you offer over at Redeemers Group.
Yeah, I've been at Redeemers Group for 6 years, 6 great years, and we are just growing because we are doing right by homeowners and businesses in the community. We operate out of Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi, and so we can service about 3 hours everywhere from the city of Memphis if you've got a home that needs some help. And ultimately, we are a crawl space, foundation, and concrete repair company, but we do work on basements too. So, and there's not many basements in our area, but there are basement problems because ultimately water is a culprit for a lot of those problems. And if you're seeing cracks in your foundation or you're seeing water in your basement or your crawl space, give us a call. You can reach us at 901-620-6945. That's actually my direct number. And you can go to redeemersgroup.com as well. And we've got a lot of information on that website.
Oh, hang out on the show today. Well, you know, we're talking about how small investments today save big money tomorrow. And it reminds me of a book I've read and reread. A lot of our listeners probably have too. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clausen. Love that book. But the book talks about in ancient Babylon, 2 young scribes named Arkad and Murad earned the same 10 copper pieces each week. Now, Murad loved the fine silks and rich wines of the city marketplace. He spent every coin as soon as it hit his palm, promising himself he would save one day when he became a master scribe. Well, Arkad, on the other hand, decided to take just 1 copper piece from every 10 and buy small fractions of trading ships heading across the sea. He started this habit at age 18. By age 40, Murad was still working long hours just to pay for his daily food. Murad, the one that spent his money as soon as it hit his palm. Arkad, on the other hand, had become the wealthiest man in Babylon. His tiny early shares in those ships had bought more vessels, creating a river of gold that flowed into his pockets, even while he slept. The core wisdom in this story is to pay yourself first, live within your means, and invest in businesses where you have familiarity. Invest early, allowing your investments to grow. Owning real estate and taking care of it is a great way to invest in yourself. And it reminds me, y'all, of a story of a gentleman that I met in the late 80s. I met this young man. He was in his 20s, and we'll call him Ian Iverson, not his real name, of course, but we were in San Diego at a real estate investing conference, and he and I spent several hours together that week comparing real estate strategies and life goals. What impressed me about him, about Ian, is that he had already purchased his first property. He was in his 20s with very little down payment, and he bought his primary residence that way. But since Ian wanted to free up as much money as possible because he had a mind, he wanted to keep buying real estate, he lived frugally in the back bedroom and rented out the rest of that house to a local white-collar professional guy. I mean, what a brilliant idea.
It's a good idea.
Well, he found some really good investment deals. He had networked with some other investors in the city and state where he lived. And Ian found a banker who'd give him credit on lines of credit on the house he already owned to give him the down payment to buy a duplex. And one of the other investors in his network also helped out with some financing and some leads on properties. Well, Ian plodded along year after year, one property at a time, buying and sometimes fixing up property, but he kept them all for rental income. Through good times and bad, slow but sure, Ian planted his seeds to gradually build his real estate empire. Today, Ian is in his late 50s, maybe his early 60s now, because it's been a while since I've told you guys this story. But he doesn't have to work a job. He lives well with his family, out in the country with land, a barn, horses, all the things that we talked about, he and I, when we were in San Diego. All those things were a living reality for him because he invested small bits at a time early, and it paid off big later. But, what do you want to accomplish with your mortgage? Do you have dreams? Do you have things that you want to do in life that you want to happen? I believe you can accomplish anything owning real estate. So give me a call. Connect with me online, jogarner.com, 901-482-0354, 901-482-0354. I can help you get quicker to the life you want with the right mortgage. We'll make the process easy. But I want to pivot over to our guest, Jonathan Greer with Redeemers Group. And Jonathan, you are the expert when it comes to a lot of things, foundation, concrete, crawl space, but let's talk about foundations.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, really at Redeemers Group, we're in the asset protection business, which kind of, goes back to that story you were just talking about. And most people they're aware of, with Zillow and other Realtor.com, they're aware of how assets are growing in value.
Right.
But we oftentimes lose sight of what protects those assets. Mm-hmm. And so we just happen to be in the repair business of foundations and crawl spaces and basements and concrete. And so, but we're really in the asset protection business.
That's a good way to say it. But on the foundations, I know you kind of alluded to it earlier, but what are some things that we see that will be as a telltale sign that we may need to call you? We may have a problem with our foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people panic when they hear the words foundation problem, and I want to put people's mind at ease today. We live in a great city of Memphis, and we've got a great standard of living here. But I would also say we have some poor soils, mm-hmm. and the problem oftentimes is not how the home was built. It's not that the home was built in the first place with any problems. The problem is often the soil.
Right.
And so what's actually happening is the soil is failing, mm-hmm. and we're seeing some evidence of that above. And oftentimes that is cracks in the brick. You can call those cricks if you want.
Yeah, sure. Hey, we just coined a new word.
There we go. But those cracks in the brick is a common scenario that we see. Windows and doors not opening or having trouble opening or shutting. Uh-huh. And sometimes we see cracks on the interior of homes too. And those are oftentimes telltale signs of foundation problems.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I know you guys come out and do a free estimate and all that, and you can tell them, hey, this is no problem. It's just regular settling, or, hey, we need to do something early today to save us a lot of expenses later tomorrow.
Absolutely. Early inspections create options. So, ultimately what I would say is once you see the problem, give us a call, have us come out. We do a free inspection. We educate you on what's going on, why it's happening, and exactly how we can fix it. And we give you options with that. Sometimes people fear the expense of what this might cost. And a lot of times that's a very nominal fee compared to what it's taking away from the asset's value.
Over time, yeah, yeah. Well, I am so glad you're in the studio. And this is Jonathan Greer with Redeemers Group. And Jonathan, if our listeners want to just have you come out and do a free inspection, find out what's really going on with that house, how do we contact you?
Yeah, give me a call directly at 901-620-6945, or you can go to redeemersgroup.com and fill out your information there, and we'll get in touch with you here shortly.
All right. Well, we're talking about a strong home foundation and finances. How small investments today save big money tomorrow. And when we come back, we're gonna be having Ed Hill of Masters Roofing come in with some good tips on this topic when it comes to roofing. And I'm Joe Garner. I'm in the mortgage business. I can work with you here in the Mid-South or anywhere in the country. Connect with me at jogarner.com. But stay tuned because we've got some great stuff coming up. And let me see if we've got anything else. I want to just tell y'all ahead of time, we're going to talk about concrete. We're going to talk about crawl spaces, money, and roofs. So hang out. We'll see you guys back in just a moment.
Real Estate Mortgage Shop provides general information, not an offer to lend. Joe Garner, Talk Shop Real Estate Mortgage Shop does not endorse 100% of the information covered on Real Estate Mortgage Shop. Consult with your certified advisors before acting on any information given on Real Estate Mortgage Shop. Joe Garner is a licensed mortgage loan officer, NMLS 757308, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hi, I'm Brandy Spicer with Howling Wolf Bookkeeping. You're listening to Real Estate Mortgage Shop. And now back to your host, Joe Garner.
Okay, guys, are you ready for comic queries? And here's our first riddle, Jonathan. Let's see how sharp you are this morning. I hired a local handyman to do some odd jobs for me. I gave him a numbered list, but when I got back, he only had done items 1, items 3, and item 5. And when I asked him, why did you not complete the projects number 2 and 4? What was his answer?
I only do odd jobs.
You are pretty sharp. You live up to your name.
I've got one for you, Joe.
All right.
What has lots of interest but never asked you about your weekend?
I'm in the mortgage business, Jonathan, and I can tell you right now, it's your mortgage. And later in the show, I'll show you how to reduce that interest on that mortgage. But today on Real Estate Mortgage Shop, we're talking about a strong home foundation and finances, how small investments today save big money tomorrow. I'm your host on the show. I'm Joe Garner. I'm a mortgage officer for your home purchase or mortgage refinance that you can brag about. Connect with me. I can help you find the right mortgage and make the process easy on a traditional mortgage, special financing, outside of the box mortgages. Connect with me at jogarner.com. We have Jonathan Greer of Redeemers Group in the house. How do we contact you?
Yeah, you can give me a call directly at 901-620-6945. You can also go to our website at www.redeemersgroup.com, and you can fill out your information there, and we can get in touch with you.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I want to bring in an old friend. He's been on this show many times. We want to do our Talk Shop tip, and Talk Shop is one of our major sponsors of Real Estate Mortgage Shop. Talk Shop offers free networking and education to our local business community and real estate community. If you join the Talk Shop sponsor team, you can get a wide variety of marketing venues at below market prices. But Ed Hill of Masters Roofing is a Talk Shop sponsor. He supports our business and real estate communities through his sponsorship. Ed Hill, you have a long list of happy customers. They have given you great reviews for your work on their roof repairs and replacement. What is our talk shop tip today?
Well, I tell you what, I have two, Joe. Hey, folks, if you're running late this coming week for work, make sure you have a police escorted motorcade. But my other tip for homeowners, and Jonathan, you're doing a fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Thanks,
So my tip for homeowners today actually comes from a true story this week, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to an appointment. The young lady, owner of the home, said when they bought the home, they were told that it was a new roof. And I was looking at it, and I think they'd only lived there just a few years. And I said, that's not a new roof.
Right. You could tell by looking.
And I think there's two roofs on there. So we're going to check it out for sure. But my best advice is if you are selling a home or if you're buying a home, don't get involved in what's called a layover.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you put another roof over the existing shingles.
Right.
It's not fair to the new buyer. And if you're a new buyer, you need to make sure there's only one layer on that roof. And sometimes, Joe, the temptation for a seller is to do a quick layover to keep the cost down.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's trying to cover up an existing problem, almost always.
Mm-hmm. How do we contact you, Ed?
Just call me 901-273-6594.
Well, hang out with us, and Jonathan, let's talk about crawl spaces and concrete. That's your other magic ability.
Well, we've got some great crews out there that do work. These guys are our employees. We don't subcontract, and they are trained and certified in what we do, whether it's a crawl space, concrete, or a foundation. But ultimately, a lot of these repairs get really expensive, but they begin it as inexpensive maintenance issues, kind of what Ed was just talking about with the roof a little bit. And, water is the number one enemy, just like in roofs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, cracks in drywall, you might see that related to foundations. But when it comes to a crawl space, you might have musty smells in the home. About 60% of the air you breathe is from your crawl space. And so if you've got compromised immune systems, that's going to be really important to get those things checked out. And again, it's a free inspection, so just give us a call. But we also do work out on pool decks and driveways as well. And a lot of times what we're seeing sinking slabs or issues with water going into the concrete and cracking the concrete.
Right.
And we can get ahead of those issues pretty inexpensively. A lot of times we're about half the cost to re-pour the driveway or to do any work around the pool deck. Mm-hmm. And so give us a call. We'd love to come out and check it out to see if it is repairable.
How do we contact you?
Yeah, it's you can reach me directly at 901-620-6945, or you can go to our website at redeemersgroup.com.
Well, I know on the crawl space side, some of the air that gets in there, if it's not healthy air, it gets up into the house. But you guys have solutions for that as well.
Absolutely. Much like water and air, we're never going to be able to keep it out of the crawl space, but we can control it once it gets in.
Right.
And so we can dehumidify that space. Ultimately, what we do with crawl spaces is we turn it into a climate-controlled storage underneath your house.
Oh, that's
if you want
awesome.
to think about it like that. And, I'll tell you, there's nothing for a prospective buyer to put their mind at ease when they open up that crawl space door and they see it's encapsulated crawl space, which is what we do. For sure. Encapsulation. But we also have other offerings. A lot of times we're seeing wood rot, we're seeing mold, and a lot of moisture accumulating in the crawl space, and we have options to mitigate those issues as well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes your floor is sagging or what we call smiling at you, and it turns, we want to turn that frown upside down for our homeowners, and ultimately we're able to stabilize those areas, those sinking and sagging floors and crawl spaces as well. And we do full reframe work too. So sometimes when the wood's not good, we're able to cut it out, take it out, put good wood in there, and then put a protectorant on it. We call lumber coat. We're the exclusive provider for lumber coat in the area. And we're able to put that on there, and that comes with a 30-year warranty.
Wow. Yeah.
Something that's important to us is to have serviceable products. So once you're a client of ours, we look at it as a lifetime. And these warranties are transferable as well.
Okay. Well, you're listening to Real Estate Mortgage Shop, and I'm Joe Garner, your host. I'm a mortgage officer. I can work with you on a home purchase or refinance here in the Mid-South or anywhere in the country. jogarner.com. Contact me today. We have Jonathan Greer of Redeemers Group in the house. Jonathan, how do we contact you?
Yeah, give me a call directly at 901-620-6945 or reach out to us at redeemersgroup.com.
Okay, and we have Ed Hill of Masters Roofing in with us in the studio. Ed, how's the best way to contact you?
901-273-6594.
Thank you for hanging out with us. Catch our podcast at jogarner.com and stay tuned because we've got more to come on how to make small investments today to make big money tomorrow.
Hey, Joe, in your book, Choosing the Best Mortgage, the Quickest Way to the Life You Want, you talk about when it's a good time to refinance a mortgage. So, when is a great time?
You know, it's when it financially makes sense. And today, people are refinancing their mortgages to eliminate double-digit interest rates on their credit cards. Some are getting mortgages out of someone else's name. Some are just pulling cash out for other reasons.
For those strategies and more, order the book today on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Mark Loden with MKL Budgeting Service in Germantown, Tennessee. You're listening to Real Estate Mortgage Shop. Now back to your host, Joe Garner.
Okay, guys, for our listeners in Memphis or those who know a little bit about Memphis, we're going to do our Did You Know? It's kind of a trivia contest here. See if you can guess the answer before we do. Ed, I think you've got a trivia question for us.
I'll tell you the question is not, Joe. Where was the first McDonald's in Memphis?
It's not that question.
Yeah, we've beaten that one to death. All right. So, all right. What famous Memphis restaurant was accidentally started when a businessman accidentally discovered a coal chute and an elevator shaft in the foundation that was the key to his now world-famous menu item?
I got a hint for that. This restaurant is located just across the street from the Peabody, Memphis. It's deep down in General Washburn Alley in a basement. That's where he found that coal chute and the elevator shaft. Okay. And it's in a commercial building, of course. Hint number 2. In 1948, looking for a way to expand his menu, the tavern owner discovered an old brick coal chute and an elevator shaft, and it was in the foundation of the building. He converted it into a makeshift indoor charcoal smoker, accidentally inventing a world-famous Memphis dry rub barbecue menu item. So what is the answer to our trivia question?
That's Charlie Virgo's The Rendezvous.
Jonathan, you absolutely got it right. I'm sure some of our listeners already have it. Oh, my goodness. Good job. Well, today on Real Estate Mortgage Shop, we're talking about a strong home foundation and finances, how small investments today save big money tomorrow. I'm your host, Joe Garner. I'm a mortgage loan officer. Connect with me at J.O. Garner for your home purchase or your refinance. And I would love to hear your story and be on your home buying or refinance journey. We've got Jonathan Greer of Redeemers Group. He's in the studio today. Jonathan, how is the best way to contact you?
Yeah, you can give me a call directly at 901-620-6945, or you can reach out to us online at redeemersgroup.com.
Okay, and Ed Hill is in the house. Ed Hill of Masters Roofing. How do we contact you, sir?
Just call me directly, 901-273-6594.
Okay, so from the mortgage desk, let's talk about how to avoid hidden cost on getting a house or a mortgage. And the first thing I would say, if you're going to buy a house, I've never bought a house that I did not do a home inspection. Okay, even if it's a brand new house. I mean, get a home inspection, because different from the appraiser, the home inspector is going to go into a lot of detail, and the home inspector will find things like maybe there's a problem with the heating and air system that may be working today, but in very short order will not be working. And that is a huge dollar item as far as an expense. Roofing is one of the biggest expenses, but one of the most important pieces.
Right.
If the roof doesn't work, everything else is at risk, right, Ed?
That's right. Sometimes, Joe, when I ask people, did you have a home inspection, they say no.
Get a home inspection.
And they might not be talking to me if they'd have had that.
Right. Well, you know, and the other one, there's so many little things that they can find that if you know ahead of time that this can be a big dollar item, you can negotiate a little better when you're making your deal with the seller. You can also appropriate money to take care of it, maybe get a warranty. A home warranty is another thing. But home inspections are important, aren't they, Jonathan?
They're really important. I think it's not the actual problems that are flagged on the home inspection that kills the deal, so to speak. It's really the uncertainty with that. And so after you get your home inspection report, you need to keep that handy and give it to someone like us at Redeemers Group or like Ed over at Masters Roofing so that we know exactly what's been flagged and we can give that customer the peace of mind on what the repair might cost. And a lot of times it's less than what people think.
Right. Well, another thing, some people say, well, I don't want to pay for an inspection if I don't know if they're going to accept my offer. A lot of realtors will make it a contingent piece in the contract. They'll say, this contract is contingent upon a satisfactory home inspection. Then you know they've accepted your offer before you pay the money for an inspection. So that's one thing. You know, here's another way to avoid expensive problems after you buy a house. Read the covenants and restrictions in the subdivision and on the condo.
Right.
I can't tell you, in my 30-plus years of being in the mortgage business, very few times does this happen, but I've had horror stories of people that said, hey, I paid all this money down. We got this house. We sold our other house, and now we're in here. They won't let us park our RV on the driveway. Now we've got to, what are we going to do? Because now we got to pay somebody to store our RV, or I wanted to run my business out of here and I can't, things like that. So pay attention first, and you can get your realtor to help you in the title company. Know what those covenants and restrictions, what you can and can't do.
I've got one more to add, too. We had a customer at an HOA recently, and they weren't aware of what concrete was theirs and what concrete was the HOA's responsibility to repair.
Wow. Yeah.
And we work with a lot of HOAs in town, and those community areas, sometimes they cross into private property. And so knowing that might save you some money, or it might be, the scenario where you've got to take care of it.
Right. And with condos, some of them today will not allow you to rent out the property. So pay attention. Credit is another one. Pay attention to the credit, because the higher your credit score, the lower your borrowing cost. I had a young couple, Sam and Sally. I write about them in my book, Choosing the Best Mortgage, the Quickest Way to the Life You Want. But he had made a lot of mistakes in college, and he had a really low score, like 565. A good score is over 700, but he was way below that. And his wife, she didn't have any credit, okay? So they came in, and I couldn't even get a program for them. But if I could get his score up to a certain point, I could get him some down payment assistance. I could get him a lot better rate. What he did was he went ahead and paid off a few things. And then what I told him to do, I said, look, Sam, it's quicker if you just pay the balances down under 25% usage on your credit cards and just make your payments on time.
Great advice.
He did that. It really helped him over just a very few months. He had a pretty decent score. For her, we got hers fixed in less than 30 days. Her parents had an old credit card that they didn't use a whole lot of the credit line on it, and they made the payments on time. They just put her on as an authorized user. Boom. We had her credit scores instantly. There's more in the book, Choosing the Best Mortgage, the Quickest Way to the Life You Want. Or just call me. I can help you for free. I can give you some advice on credit. Another one is how to save money. If you want to save money tomorrow on your mortgage, make extra payments on the principal. It's not that hard. If you got a 30-year mortgage, especially just starting out, if you'll make one extra principal and interest payment, just the principal and interest payment a year, you're going to make that 30-year mortgage, you're going to save like 5 or 6 years off your mortgage. That's a lot of payments.
Wow.
That you can save. But start early. So, put a little investment in it today so you can save a lot more tomorrow on that. Get the right mortgage. I have so many people that tell me later, I went online and they just gave me this mortgage, and then I find out, man, they could have done so much more. And let me just give you an example. I've had people that said, well, I was going to inherit my parents' house in a year. I knew I was going to sell it in a year. We just had to go through the probate process. And now I'm putting an extra $100,000 down on my $200,000 loan. Why can't I change my payment? Well, because they didn't ask the question and their mortgage officer didn't tell them they could have put a recast option in there and been able to exercise that, lower the payment without going through the expense of refinances. These are things I do for my clients, my mortgage clients. You've got to connect with me for that. The other one is get pre-approved if you're going to buy a house. Not just a cursory pre-qualification, but go ahead and give your mortgage officer all your supporting documents, income, asset, get an underwriter to bless it, and then you've got more negotiating power than somebody trying to compete to buy the same house you want.
Right.
So,
Joe, it occurs to me that to describe what you do and who you are, you're like a boutique mortgage expert. I mean, you can figure out the nuances, right?
Mm-hmm.
That individual, that they personally are dealing with, or things that will help them or hurt them. You're not going to get that on a 1-800 mortgage number.
Thank you, Ed. That is so true.
You're just not.
The other one is renovation. I've had so many people say, well, I'm going to buy a house that needs fixing up. Depending on the type of loan, you may need a renovation loan, but there is certain rules of when that works for you and when it doesn't. I know what those rules are. Connect with me. I'm Joe Garner, host of Real Estate Mortgage Shop. Connect with me at jogarner.com. And we have Jonathan Greer of Redeemers Group in the house. And Jonathan, how do we contact you?
Yeah, you can give me a call directly at 901-620-6945, or you can visit us online at redeemersgroup.com.
We have Ed Hill of Masters Roofing in the house, who also takes care of his clients. How do we contact you, Ed?
901-273-6594.
Stay tuned. We've got some real estate tips that can save you a headache and make you some money. So stay tuned. We'll see you guys back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Silvana Pierare, Realtor with eXp Realty in Tennessee and Mississippi. You are listening to Real Estate Mortgage Shop. Now back to your host, Joe Garner.
Insights and inspiration. This story is called Small Investment Today Brings Big Wealth Tomorrow. From ages 6 to 13, this young man purchased 6 packs of Coca-Cola bottles from his grandfather's store for 25 cents. This was a long time ago. He sold the bottles for 5 cents each, making a 20% profit. At age 13, he took on multiple paper routes and magazine sales to his newspaper customers. With money from the paper route, this young boy started small investing in stocks. Because he started with these small amounts so early in life, he gave his money an incredibly long runway. He even bought some real estate. If he had started investing at age 30 instead of age 11, Warren Buffett's modern multi-billion-dollar net worth would be only a small fraction of what it is today. Over 99% of Warren Buffett's net worth was accumulated after his 50th birthday. Do you want to enjoy a better life and not have to work harder to get there? Invest early and often and let it compound over time. Real estate has a track record of going up over time and has contributed to over 90% of the millionaires in the world. Whether you're buying your first home or your second, 30th home, I can help you find the right mortgage program and make the process easy. Connect with me today for your mortgage. 901-482-0354. Today on Real Estate Mortgage Shop, we're talking about a strong home foundation and finances, how small investments today save big money tomorrow. And in the house, we have the best of the best. We have Jonathan Greer of Redeemers Group. How do we contact you, Jonathan?
Yeah, you can give me a call directly at 901-620-6945, or you can reach us online at redeemersgroup.com.
We have Ed Hill of Masters Roofing.
901-273-6594.
Okay, we're going to do something we like to do every week. The real estate tip of the week. I believe, Jonathan, you have our real estate tip of the week.
Yeah, so grab your umbrella. It's raining outside. Walk the property during and after a heavy rain. The next time that it's raining, look for standing water near the foundation. Check gutters, downspouts. We like to get the water about 10 feet away from the structure itself. And make sure water's moving away from the home and not towards the home based on the grade of the yard or your flower beds. Easy way. I mean, really, one of the smartest investments you can make with a house isn't cosmetic. It's protecting the structure. That protects everything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Ed Hill, you've got a tip for us from the roofing company.
Yeah, your roof may be relatively new, like 8 or 9 years old, something like that. People don't realize that those pipes that run through the roof, they're sealed with a sealant. Well, that doesn't last forever. Mm-hmm. And the chimney flashing and so on. So I would recommend a roof tune-up, probably in the range of 8 to 10 years. But do that, have the roof inspected and do those little tune-ups, and you'll avoid I'd say an awful lot of leaks that can come up. And Jonathan, I can tell you from going around to so many homes, probably 50% of the homes in Memphis have water issues relating to the foundation because you could just see the water standing around the house.
Right next to it, yep.
Mm-hmm. How do we contact you, Ed, at Masters Roofing?
Just call me directly, 901-273-6594.
Quick tip from the mortgage desk. If you're negotiating to buy a home and the sellers have indicated they can help you a little bit with maybe closing cost or in some way, you tell them how. My recommendation is if you're going to be in that house, you're going to own that house for a few years, I would ask for them to pay the closing cost. Some people come in and say, well, they said they'd help me out, so I'm just going to get a lower price. It's going to take you years to actually realize the savings if you just offer a lower price. But if you ask for closing cost, when they pay that closing cost for you at closing, you realize 100% of the value that very day. So just a tip to the wise on that. From the mortgage desk, I'm Joe Garner, jogarner.com. But we want to thank our sponsors of Real Estate Mortgage Shop. Talk Shop is one of our major sponsors, and they offer free education and networking every Wednesday, 9 o'clock Central, at the Independent Planning Group's conference room number 110. Now, that's going to change, so always go to talkshop.com. That's talk, SHOPPE.com. Check the events tab. But we're in the Independent Planning Group's conference room at the Clark Tower, 5100 Poplar Avenue in Memphis. Thank you to Ben Hunter. He's an outstanding financial professional at Independent Planning Group for being Talk Shop's location sponsor. Talk Shop events on Wednesday, June the 24th, 2026, 9 a.m. Come equip, engage, and empower your business and your networking group at Talk Shop's Business Builder Mixer. Bring your favorite breakfast snack. We'll be serving coffee. You'll be making some lasting business referral relationships. Find out more at talkshop.com. Thank you to Tiffany Thornburg of Empowered with Trust Solutions. Are you ready to set up your dental, your vision, your other health benefits, alternative benefits, or maybe a Medicare plan? Contact Tiffany Thornburg of Empowered with Trust Solutions, 901-643-5600. $5,400. And when it's time to reward yourself with a great memory-making vacation, there are some plans that can help you take first-class vacations at a fraction of the normal price. If you want to know how, call Peggy Lau. She can show you how. 901-289-0747. We want to say happy Father's Day to you guys out there, all of our fathers. Hats off to our fathers who have been there as a model and support to their families. From our quote corner, this is from Ken Hubbard. The fellow that owns his own home is always coming out of the hardware store. Ever notice that, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
Another one is from J.P. Getty. If you owe the bank $100, that's your problem. If you owe the bank $100 million, that's the bank's problem. Anything y'all want to add?
I like what Getty said.
That is so true. Well, hey, we've been talking about a strong home foundation and finances, how small investments today save big money tomorrow. And boy, if you missed this show and you really haven't missed it, you can go to jogarner.com, scroll down to our podcast with show notes. Got a lot in there for you. Anything else you guys want to add?
Well, I just think that it's all in the title. Small investments, free inspections with Redeemers Group today can save you a lot on the sell or the purchase of the home tomorrow. All
right. Well, make your plan. Let's work your plan if the deal works for you today. Let's do it today. Subscribe to get our weekly Real Estate Mortgage Shop podcast show notes. You can do that at jogarner.com. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you guys back next Saturday.